Hello and welcome to level 4. We're going to start lying on your back. Make sure you're lying straight, so pubic bone, navel and nose all in one line. And then we're going to do a supine hip flexor stretch. So we grab one knee, draw the knee in, pulsing, just opening up, massaging the hip, and then open the knee out to the side, stretching your adductor. And then you're going to straighten and bend that leg for a hamstring stretch about 5 times, just opening up the back of the leg. Don't worry about how high or low the leg is. And then grab hold of either the thigh, the calf, the ankle or the foot, and having a little stretch. The legs can be straight or bent. I like rocking a little bit left and right. And then we'll do a supine twist stretch. So you shift your pelvis over to one side and then roll the knee to the opposite direction. Look towards the hand that is the same as the knee, and then back through center and then the other side. So you're going to grab the other knee, just gentle little pulses, opening up the hips, massaging out your thigh, and then open the knee out to the side for an adductor stretch. And then bring the leg back into parallel, a few straightenings and bendings of the leg, massaging out the back of the leg with the movement of the leg, and then straightening the leg. Hold on to either the thigh, the calf, the ankle or the foot. Doesn't matter if it's straight or bent. I like to rock the leg left and right a little bit, just massaging out different fibers. And then supine twist stretch. So you shift your pelvis over and then you roll the knee, look towards the hand, stretching the spine and your chest, breathing into the tight bits. Such a lovely stretch. So we just start with this just to sort of open up the body in a really relaxed way, and then we're going to go into shoulder bridge prep. Tuck the tailbone up to the ceiling and then reach the right leg up, place the foot down. Reach the left leg up, place the foot down. A little tuck of the tail up to the ceiling and then sequentially roll. And again, tucking the tailbone up, squeezing the buttocks. Alternate which leg you start with. Reach the left leg up this time and then the right leg, and then a little tuck and then rolling back down. And again, tuck the tailbone up, squeezing the buttocks, pressing the wrists down so you get into your lats. And then one leg up, plant the foot down, the other leg up. The challenge here is to keep the hip bones really square to the ceiling as you extend the leg up to the ceiling. And again, lifting the hips up, keeping nice and square. Reach through the heel like you're trying to touch the heel towards the ceiling. A little lift of the tailbone and then rolling back down. Now into shoulder bridge with pulses. So you roll up, you extend the leg and then lower and lift the pelvis 3 times, 2 times, 1 time. Hold the pelvis up, plant the foot down, extend the other leg up, lower the hips down, and 3, 2, 1, hold the pelvis there, plant the foot down and then roll through the spine, returning to the start position. That was 1 set. We're going to do about 4 sets of these, rolling up, extend the leg up, lower the pelvis and lift, pressing through that supporting leg. 2, 3, obliques working to keep your hips still, extend the other leg up, lower and lift. 3, like you're pivoting in the hips. 2, 1, plant the foot down, connect to your abdominals, ribs to hips, and then squeeze the buttocks as you roll the spine down. Breathing into your ribs and lifting the tailbone, rolling. Extend one leg up, really engage the thigh, and 3, like you're pressing the heel up to the ceiling with the back of the leg, not your lower back. Extending the other leg up, and 3, 2, 1, plant the foot down. Imagine there's a tennis ball between your knees so you keep your inside thighs engaged. And again, Tuck the tailbone up, squeeze the buttocks. Extend one leg up, check into your shoulders, keep your collarbones down and press your wrists down into the floor to engage your lats. Other leg up, hips are square, supporting leg, back of the leg. Think sit bone to thigh and then rolling back down through the spine. Okay, well done. Now into mini pulses. Interlace the hands behind your head, thumbs touching your neck, shoulders away from your ears, lifting the knees up into tabletop or chair position. Hold that there. Lift your chest. That's the start and end position. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Pressing the lower rib cage down to lift your shoulders up. Now hold it up there and then into obliques. 2, 3. So you're lifting the right shoulder blade up higher than the left. Okay, thinking of sort of lifting the bra line of the right side off the mat by pressing the lower ribs down, back through center, then 10 to the other side. 10, 9. Heavy head into the hands so you don't use your neck. Good. And grab the knees, have a little breather. And gently pulsing both knees in towards your chest, really softening at the front of the hips. Just a little active rest there. Into hip rolls, lower and lift. Arms at a stop sign. Roll, extend, lower, lift, bend and return. Roll, extend, lower, lift, bend and return. So breathing in and out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Roll, reach, keep the opposite shoulder in contact with the floor. Only roll within a range that both shoulders stay stable and plugged down into the mat. So this obviously works your obliques. By extending the legs out, we're loading up the challenge on the core, but it's actually a really great shoulder stability strengthening exercise too if you can keep those shoulders plugged into the mat and the upper trapezius nice and soft. Anywhere between 6 to 8 of these, and then placing the feet down. Into double toe tap. So hands in a diamond over your lower abdominals, knees up into tabletop, tapping both toes down and then return. We're not bending at the knees, we're hinging at the hips. Try and engage the back of the leg. So if I was to poke around the gluteal fold area there, those muscles are contracting. Engaging the back of the legs and making sure that the lower back stays stable. There's a little hollow in the lower back and you maintain that little hollow as you lower and lift the legs. Now into side openings. Lying on your side, hands behind your head, lower rib cage lifted, lift and rotate, and then lift and return. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in and out. Anywhere between 4 to 8 of these. Really fantastic mobility for the thoracic spine. And allow your nose to roll with your elbow, so using the weight of the head to stretch the pecs and the spine. Pressing both elbows down towards the mat as you rotate and open. The obliques are gently engaged by drawing the waist in and up. Into retire stretch, lying on your stomach. Place your right foot underneath your left knee and the foot is on the shin. Not above the knee but underneath the knee, and the knee is out to the side. We're doing 3 10-second holds. Breathing in to prepare, breathing out. Zip your tummy up and then contracting both buttocks like you're trying to imprint your tailbone and your pubic bone down into the mat, and hopefully we'll feel a stretch in the anterior hip capsule. and then release. Breathing in to prepare, and again. Breathing out, zip your tummy up, squeezing both buttocks, imprinting the pubic bone down towards the floor. So it's like you're trying to posteriorly tilt the pelvis, energetically reaching the thigh out of the hip socket to open up the deep front of the hip. Release. And then the other side. So we'll do side openings. Hands behind your head, and the waist is lifted. Lift and rotate, and lift and return. Breathing in to lift up, breathing out to rotate. So as you reach the left elbow up to the ceiling and out, think of reaching the left knee in the opposite direction. Trying to keep the knees as stacked as possible, but really going for the stretch and the rotation through the chest. Press both elbows down into the mat, so you're using the mid shoulder blades to assist the stretch. Breathing into it. And then into retire stretch on this left side, so left foot underneath. So 3 10-second holds or 2 10-second holds, and contracting the butt cheeks. If you're not sure if they're contracted, give them a little poke. Often one engages but the other one doesn't. And then gently release. Breathing in to prepare. Breathing out, pelvic floor, navel to spine, and then contracting both butt cheeks like you're holding onto a credit card between your buttocks. And then imagine that left thigh growing, reaching out of the left hip, opening up the front of the hip socket, strengthening the buttocks. Good. And maybe one more. A gentle lift of the wee muscles. Check into your neck and your upper shoulders. And then release. Good. Well done. And now into child's pose. Feet together, knees apart. Really reach out through the arms. Have the little fingers touching the long ends of the mat. Lying on your side, clam 3. Line yourself up with the long end of the mat, and then we lift the top leg, extend, bend, and back down. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. And try and keep the thigh bone as still as you can as you extend from the knee. Try not to lift the leg straight up to the ceiling because we want the load of gravity on the glute. So you want it sort of reaching out on an oblique angle, the diagonal. I could even have my leg down a little bit lower rather than reaching it straight up to the ceiling there. Our focus is the glutes. Contracting the sit bone muscles, even on the way down. And now into clam 4. So feet are lifted, underneath side is lifted. Keep the feet together and lift and lower the top leg 10 times. 8, 7. And I like to think of the bottom leg holding the top leg up so you get into the adductors as well. And this will engage the deep glute muscles more than your thighs. So it's like the legs are sort of heavy, that top leg is heavy into the bottom leg. Well done. Other side. Clam 3. Line yourself up with the back of the mat so you know you're straight. And then top knee is bent. Lift the leg and then extend the leg out, bend it and then back down. Again, lift the knee, extend the leg, bend and back down. So on this side, I've actually just done clam 2. Okay, so it's actually meant to be clam 3, so just keep going. I should be extending my leg in between like we did on the first side. Okay, so you lift the knee and then extend the leg, place the foot back down, and then the knee goes down. Just like on the first side. Up to 10 of these, okay, move from your center. Make sure that your deep abdominals are engaged. and keep the pelvis nice and stable. Now into Clam 4. So we lift the knee, place the knee down. Up to 10 of these. Clam 4, pelvis nice and stable. Increase challenge by lifting that bottom leg off. Pressing both knees apart. Switching the buttocks on. Pressing the feet together. Well done. Place the feet down. Okie dokie, into the next exercise. Now we're going to grab the magic circle, lying on your back. Once again, make sure you're straight. And inside thigh squeeze. So magic circle between your legs, and then you're going to breathe out to squeeze your knees together 10 times. 9, lower back nice and soft. 8, hands over your belly to feel that zip. 7, 6, and think of the actual groin muscles pressing the knees together. So it's not just the knees pushing the magic circle, but it's from the groin. 10. And then hands behind your head, knees up into tabletop. So we're doing a curl up with an inside thigh squeeze. 2, up to 10 of these. 3, pressing the feet together. 4, to help you get into those deep external rotators in the hips. 5, and then the knees pressing in. 4, gets into those adductors. 3, pelvic stability. 2, 1, good work. Now put the magic circle between your ankles. The legs are straight and in external rotation, so you turn the legs out, hands behind your head. Now keep the legs straight. You're going to lift your head and your chest up, and then you're going to squeeze the inside thighs. Anywhere between 4 to 6. Keep the upper body still, pressing the lower rib cage down to get a lift. And then you're pressing the heels towards one another from the groin once again. Getting into those inside thighs and deep abdominals. Have a rest. Grab the magic circle, put it around your foot into a hamstring stretch. Other side. Engaging your quad, engaging your biceps, neck and shoulders are relaxed. Okay, into magic circle inside thigh series, lift and lower. Line yourself up so you're in a straight line. The underneath leg is inside the magic circle and the top leg is on top of the magic circle. The legs are in a slight external rotation, and you draw the bottom leg up 10 times. The top leg is not pushing down too heavily. It's more about lifting the bottom leg to the top. Make sure you feel the heels and the big toe joints touching. Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Left rib cage underneath side lifted, and then into circle. So you go up, back, down and forward. Smooth circle. Keep both quads engaged so the kneecaps are lifted. And feel a connection in the hip extensors. So the sit bones are drawing down to the back of the thighs to activate the muscles at the back of the legs. And then circling around with the real sense of reach through the inside thighs. It's a really nice feeling, this series. Really applying the principle of lengthening throughout. So you do 10 in each direction, and then we do middle to top. So from the middle all the way up to the top. So it's sort of like pulsing to the top with control. And think back of the legs, inside thighs, and then hold it there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then lower the leg down. Other side. The underneath leg goes in the magic circle. The top leg's on top. A lot of people do this with a real bend at their hips. Okay, I want you to make sure that your pelvis and your thighs and spine are in neutral, so you've got to really work the back of the legs. Lift the bottom leg up to the top, 2, 3, think heels and big toes touching, 4, 5, kneecaps lifted, 6, 7, 8 from the groin, 9, 10, and then into circles. So you go forward, up, down and back. Pelvic stability. Bottom thigh bone is circling around 10 times. Staying nice and square with the hips to the wall that you're facing. No rocking back and forward with the pelvis. And then we reverse it. You do a real extension back. Keep the leg straight and work the back of the leg. Thigh to sit bone. If I was to poke around the gluteal fold area, on both butt cheeks, they'd be engaged. 10 of them. And then middle to top. So you lift the bottom leg halfway up and then lift at the top. 2, 3, 4. And think of lifting the heel up from those groin muscles where the adductors attach to the pelvis, and then really press the heels, the calves, the inside thighs, press them together and then lower down. Okay, get rid of the magic circle. We're going into hundreds. Lying on your back, making sure you're straight, pubic bone, navel and nose in one line. Legs are together. Imprint the lower ribs as you reach the arms over the head. Lift both legs up into the start position. Now lift your head, reach the arms out, and then pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 30. In. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. Big toes, heels, touching, pressing, calves pressing, inside thighs pressing, kneecaps lifted. So the hip extensors are engaged and the adductors. Pressing the lower rib cage down to get a lift of your head and your shoulders up. Bend the knees, place the feet down, return to the start position. Okay, now we're going to go into roll-ups. Legs are straight. You can either have them together or apart. And then you're going to lift your head and your chest up. Bend your knees if you need to help you roll through the mid-back and lower back. C-curve forward. Keep looking at your belly button. Now roll from the tailbone onto your sacrum, onto your lower back. As you reach the arms over, keep pressing the lower back down. Now curl your upper spine, and then during this sticky bit, really lift the tailbone up to the ceiling. C-curve forward and then roll tailbone, sacrum, lumbar, thoracic, and then keep imprinting the spine down. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these, or 4 to 8, and then rolling back down. When the arms go over your head, you can either keep the knees bent or extend the legs out. Tuck the tailbone up. C-curve forward like you're pressing your lower spine back. Feel the back of the legs engage here as well. So as you lift up and you roll, digging the heels down into the mat can help you activate the back of the legs. So it's this co-contraction of the glutes, the back of the legs, and the abs to help open up the spine. Grabbing hold of the thighs is also an option. Or you might be able to do it with your legs straight and together. Well done. Okay, now into bottom lifts. So legs are up towards the ceiling, arms down by your side, cross one ankle over the other, and then lift. 10 of these with one leg in front of the other. The knees can be softly bent, trying to imprint the lower back to lift the legs up. Cross the legs and do the other side. 10, 9, 8. Squeeze the buttocks, engage the lower abdominals, like you're lifting your tailbone up to the heels and up towards the ceiling. Glute stretch. Ankle across your thigh, lying down, just having a little active rest here. Breathing. Maybe squeeze the leg in a little more. Pausing and allowing your body just to stretch out either side. So ankle across the thigh, grab hold of either the thigh or the shin, and then lying on your back, shoulders relaxed. Think of anchoring the shoulder blades back into the mat and the tailbone down, so you sort of feel like you're ironing out your spine a bit, and that'll target the glutes more. Maybe bending the elbows a bit more and then return. Single leg stretch. So lift your head and your chest up and then reach one leg out and then the other leg. So reach towards the ankle, reach towards the ankle. Lightly tapping your hand onto the knee, lightly tapping the hand. Now look at your belly, and when you're switching over, try not to bulge the tummy out. Scoop and then lower down, have a rest. Double leg stretch, feet together, knees apart, hands on the knees. And you're going to lift up and then circle the arms over your head and around, reach and then return to the start position. The heels are touching, the toes are apart, reach and then fold. So think of pressing the heels, the calves, the inside thighs, the back of the legs, and then return. Try and touch the far wall. Now when the arms circle over your head, try not to drop the upper body back. You want to circle the arms within a range that you can keep your upper body stable and still and motionless. So as you reach your arms over your head, it's challenging on your core. And then back to center into scissors. 2, 3, upper body stability. 4, isolating in the hips, unhunching the shoulders, and then crisscross, opposite elbow to knee. 2, 3, think of drawing the elbow towards the knee more than the knee towards the elbow. And stay up off your shoulders like you're rolling around your lower ribs. Okay, so now just have a little rest. And then we're going to go into a teaser prep series 1. Feet down, legs are together, arms over your head, imprint the lower spine and lower ribs. Circle the arms around, grab hold of the back of the thighs, reach one leg out, lift your arms up, grab the back of the thigh, roll back down, arms go over your head. Circle, grab, roll, reach, and then grab the back of the leg, roll down, reach the arms over, collarbones down. Circle, roll, grab the legs will help you roll through that thoracic spine. And then feel the back of the legs engage as the arms go. So just here, as you grab the back of the legs, try and engage them to help you C-curve through the spine. Anywhere between 4 to 6 sets of these, and this leads us up into a more advanced exercise. You can also separate the legs to make it a little bit easier for you. And then rolling back down over your head. Well done. Okay, now we're going to flip over onto your belly into a beautiful stretch. It's called Swan Dive Prep. Legs are apart in external rotation. Your elbows are bent down towards your lower ribs. Imprint your pubic bone, and then what you're going to do is you're going to extend through the thoracic, the elbows stay down, then you lift up and then lower the elbows back down onto the mat and then return to the start position. Thoracic extension Now, as you go up into the full extension, think of the headlights of your hips lifting off the mat. So the bending is happening at the hip joint as opposed to just in the lower back. Thoracic extension, raise the eye line, and then lift up to a point that you feel comfortable. Headlights are lifted off the mat. Now, as you lower back down, ribs to hips, and then return face down. About 4 of these. Beautiful big stretch for your psoas. Supporting your lower back by engaging your glutes and your lower abs. Now, hands underneath your face. Bend your knees, heels together, knees apart. Breaststroke. Lift the knees off and then lift your chest up. That's the start position. Now pulse the heels 3 times, 2 times 1. Extend the legs out, reach the arms, circle around, lift, and then return to the start position, ribs to hips, everything off. And then press the heels 2, 3. Straighten the arms and legs, lift up, and then return, keeping the thighs and the chest off. So glutes and hamstrings. Reach from hands to feet. Reach the chest forward as you kiss your shoulders back and then connect to your abs to return. Keeping the knees up off the mat's a challenge. Also stabilizing through the shoulder blades. So as your arms reach over the head, shoulder blades stay down away from your ears. And as your arms go out, you're laterally rotating and then you're adducting your shoulder blades together and then return to neutral. Rest. In those back exercises, the glutes and the lower abs are working, and you want to try and arch from the bra line back, not just in your lower back. So actually shouldn't feel it in your lower back at all, those exercises when using the glutes. Stingray, heels together, toes apart, arms down by your side, and beat 2, 3, 4, 5 and down, 2, 3, 4, 10, up, 2, 3, 4, 5 and down, 2, 3, 4. So anywhere between 6 to 8 of these. Shoulder stability as the arms go up and down, keeping the collarbones away from the ears. Pelvic stability, so no bouncing around as you beat the legs. So when I'm doing that, I'm really actually focusing on keeping the navel up into the spine. Kneeling up, and we'll go into thigh stretch. Kneeling, sit bone width apart, glutes, abs engaged, hinge back from the knees, and then return. Breathing in to hinge back, breathing out to return. You want to make sure that you don't buckle in your torso as you do this. So as you hinge back, I like to actually even like ribs to hip connection. It'll feel like you're tucking the tail under and posteriorly tilting as you go back. This is to keep the core integrated so you're not arching back from the spine. Pivoting in the knees and return. Such a great exercise. Now into kneeling straight leg glutes. So lift and lower, lift the leg and lower it down, breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower. Parallel leg, so think of leading with the inside thigh up towards the ceiling. And the challenge here is to not swing the hips over to the left, so you want to keep the knee joint, you want the weight in the middle of the knee joint. Now cross the leg over, arc, lift and then tap to the side, lift and then cross it. Look to the right and then look to the left. Lift and then open, lift and then cross. The leg is arcing from the side of the mat to the back long end of the mat. Keeping the shoulders stable and that supporting leg stable. Don't let the hips drop and rotate like headlights to the side. You want to keep those headlights square to the mat as you lift and cross. plus pulses. Ankles crossed, knee out to the side. Parallel, the bottom leg is parallel, and you're lifting the leg up and down. Glutes and hamstrings. Glutes and hamstring. So the knee is angled towards the long end of the mat, but the foot is straight up towards the ceiling. So there's slight opening of that right leg, slight external rotation, and then pulses. Pulsing from the hip socket as opposed to pulsing from the lower back. Have a rest in child's pose. And then into shell stretch. So squeeze the legs together, imprint the lower back up towards the ceiling, really drawing the ribs towards the hips to get that Pilates C curve, glutes engaged. Okay, so now into the other side. So lift and lower, extend the other leg out, parallel leg, lift and lower, breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower, straight flat line from tailbone to head, and deep abdominals engaged. Pressing the arms down into the floor to get into the external obliques and to stabilize through your torso. Arc, cross the leg over, lift it, and then reach it all the way out to the side. I've had to move the equipment here, move the props. Now the challenge in this one is to not rock on that supporting knee. So you don't want to swing the weight onto the outside of the supporting knee and the inside of the supporting knee. You're trying to stay steady on your wrists. You're trying to stay steady on that supporting leg. And what that will do, it will really stabilize through the glutes on that right side. Lift and open. And of course, reaching through the spine and the leg. And into attitude, lift and lower. Knee out towards the left, foot directly up towards the ceiling, getting into the hamstrings at the back, but the outside of the hamstrings. Stabilizing, no rocking forward and back in your shoulders, keeping steady in your arms, your shoulders, your torso, no rocking left and right in the knee or forward and back in the knee, and then into pulses. Moving at the hip socket rather than at the lower back. 10 of those, and then rest in child's pose. Just breathing slowly. Now into roll like a ball. Grab hold of your feet, balancing between your coccyx and your sit bones, rolling back and forward, contracting the glutes and the hamstrings, scooping hip to rib connection as you roll back. The challenge here is to keep the heels tucked into the buttocks, the knees close to the face, anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. And you try and keep your feet off the ground here, so balancing using your core. Lie down on your back into rollovers. Arms down by your side, legs over up towards the ceiling. So you're going to roll over and then roll back down to the start position. Keep your legs parallel to the floor as you roll onto your shoulders, and then controlling the movement on the return. If you need to have your knees slightly bent, that's absolutely fine. 6 of these. Press your wrists and arms down into the floor. Keep your hamstrings and glutes engaged as the legs go over. Think pubic bone to nose, hips to ribs, and then ribs to hips. Such a beautiful stretch. Next exercise is Torpedo. I love this exercise actually. There's a little bit of choreography, but it's worth learning it. Lying in a straight line from feet to head. toes pointed. Lift, flex, 3 lifts of the top leg, 3, 2, 1. Now hold that leg there, lower the bottom leg, 3, 2, 1 to the top, point, lift, and then lower down. Breathing out to lift, breathing in to flex. Out, in, out, and then bottom to top. 2, 3, point, lift, and then return. So breathe in to lower, out. 2, 3, point, lift, back down. Okay, so our target area are the obliques. We're going to do about 6 of these, and also the hip abductors and the hip adductors. So the outside hip and the inside hip of the bottom leg. We want to fire up the back of the legs, so drawing those sit bones down to the back of the thighs and keeping that underneath side lifted, so the left rib cage lifted up off the mat to activate the obliques is a challenge in this. And try not to recruit the shoulders. Sitting up in a Z sit, arms out to the side, mermaid with lift. Lean, bend and reach, lift the hips, lower the hips, straighten the arm, and then return to the start position. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Reaching out, now lower the elbow down and reach over, so you're going to get a massive stretch through the serratus, through obliques, through the psoas. And I'm doing 3 on this side. Anywhere between 3 to 6 is fabulous. Such a beautiful feeling in that mermaid. Other side, we're lying on the right side into torpedo. Legs in one straight line with torso and head, and back of the legs and core engaged. Lift, flex, top leg, 2, 3. Now lower the bottom leg down, lift the bottom to top, 2, 3. Point, lift and reach and lightly lower the legs down. Lift, flex. Think of leading with the heel to get into glute med. Lower the bottom leg down and try and make contact with the heels and the toes when you do this. Lift and lower down lightly. And we lower down lightly to keep the obliques engaged. 3, and then bottom to top. From the groin, you're drawing those legs together. And again, checking in, do a body scan. Are you using the upper traps? Try and stabilize through the scapula. Feet together, lift with length. So it's not about the height, it's about reaching out like you're being pulled by your ankles. Inside thigh, reach, reach, point, lift, and then lengthen as you lower. 6 sets of these. By 4, you typically feel pretty pooped, and okay, the last 2 extra strengthening and lower down. Good. Into a mermaid with lift. So Z sit, aiming to have both hips down towards the floor. Now lean, lower the elbow down, then lift and press the pelvis forward. Sit back, extend the arm, return to sitting. Lean over, glutes engaged to press the pelvis forward, hinging at the hip, and then return. Thoracic lateral flexion, hip extension. Good, breathing through it, opening up the body. Into side reach, sitting on your hip and then heel to toe. Knees are together, hand in line with your hip, spine in neutral. Straighten the legs to shift your shoulder over your wrists and then return lightly to the floor. 2. And we're doing 6 of these. So you shift the weight onto the wrist and then you shift your weight back onto the hip. Okay, so you're moving your center of gravity in your pelvis towards your hand and then towards your heels, stabilizing through the side body, and then the other side, rotate around, top leg in front of the bottom leg, spine neutral on an oblique angle, hand in line with hip, and then straighten the legs and then lightly place the hip down, shifting the weight onto your wrist, shifting it back towards your feet. 6 of these. Trunk stability, shoulder stability. Stack your joints now. Onto your forearms, hands clasped. Hands are together, elbows are shoulder width apart, legs are straight, toes and heels towards one another, and then slowly tap one knee, straighten, slowly tap the other, return. When you bend the knee, think of drawing the pubic bone towards your belly button or the hips to ribs. So you're tapping the knee down slowly with control from your abdominals, hip to rib connection. Make sure that the shoulder blades are wide at the back so serratus is engaged. Looking towards the edge of the mat, the short edge of the mat, will help you to engage your core. And have a little rest. So you do 10 of those knee taps in just one set. Now we're going into front support. Hands shoulder width apart, feet are pubic bone width apart, really reaching the hips out away from the hands. Scapula are laterally rotated, upper trapezius soft. Now out into a plank, lift your right leg, 2, 3. Lift your left leg, 2, 3. Now 3 little push-ups. I do little mini ones. You can go down as low as you want or as shallow as you want, and then back into pyramid position. Think of pressing your hands down and forward and your feet down and back, like you're trying to split the mat in 2. Breathing into the stretch. Now out into a plank. Now the left leg, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, breathing out. 2, 3. And then 3 push-ups. Now you can also have your knees down and go a bit deeper. 2, 3. But if you're not used to doing push-ups, then you can just do little mini ones. You're still going to definitely get the benefit. So feet sit bone, pubic bone width apart. Hands shoulder width apart, really reaching the hips away from the hands, core sucking in. 3 to 5 breaths there, then back out to plank. Now to lift your right leg, press your left foot down into the mat. To lift your left leg, press your right foot down into the mat. And then 3 little push-ups. 2, staying stable. 1, and then back into pyramid. We're going to do 6 sets of these, building up the heat in your body, building up your strength, and out into plank and glute and hamstring. And glute and hamstring. Keeping the core engaged, like you've got a corset on around your waist, and then you're reaching out through the hips. Breathing in, sucking the belly in, expanding the ribs. Out into a plank and right leg, 2, parallel. So the challenge here is to keep your shoulders above your wrists, keep your pelvis and stable and pelvis and hips very stable. And then push-ups is shoulder stability challenge. One last one, really reaching the hips out away from the hands, suck the belly in. Shoulder blades are drawing down and wide, upper shoulders soft. Thighs are engaged, so if I was to poke around your quads, they're engaged. Out into a plank, shoulders over wrists. 1, 2, 3. Thinking of the inside thigh going up towards the ceiling. And 3 push-ups, either legs straight or knees down. 2 and 3. Well done, awesome. I'm resting in shell stretch here. Squeeze the knees together, engage the glutes, legs, hips are just up off the heels, and I'm up on my fingertips so that I can really laterally rotate my shoulder blades, get a nice thoracic opening. Now into back support. Legs are straightened together, hands are wider than your shoulders, arms straight, either fingertips forward to the side or to the back. Now lift the hips up, and then as you lower down, lift the chest. 2, we're doing about 6 of these. Try and keep your big toe joints touching to strengthen the soles of the feet, and reach the big toes away from the pubic bone to activate the inside thighs. Now, of course, the back of the legs are working, the glutes and your abdominals are working, and drawing the shoulder blades back as well there. Now into a lunge. Right leg forward, left leg back. And so we're just doing a few little stretches here. Hands either side of the front foot, back leg is straight. Engage the left butt cheek to stretch the front of your left hip, holding it there for about 5 slow out breaths, keeping the glutes engaged and hips square to the mat. Now turn that front leg out. This is called a lizard stretch. Elbows or hands on the mat, and you drop your head down, keeping the back leg energized and engaged. The left butt cheek is engaged. Your right leg is turned out, getting into the iliotibial band and tensor fasciae lata, and then front leg parallel, and then into a pyramid stretch. So the legs are parallel. The back heel, the left heel, can either be down on the mat or lifted. The challenge here is to keep both hips square. The hips will want to swing over towards the left. So think left hip bone towards your right knee to help square those hips up. You can have the front leg bent. The leg. Lunge. Back leg is straight, glute is engaged. Having your head down looking towards your navel stretches the femoral nerve. If you have your head up, it just engages the core a bit more in the mid-back. So depending on what stretch you're after, and you can just experiment with that. Breathing throughout, deep abdominals are supporting your spine while you breathe into your ribs. Lizard, so you turn that front leg out, elbows down on the floor, drop your head, press the elbows down into the mat, and engage your right butt cheek. Breathing into the stretch. Bring the front leg into parallel, into pyramid. You might want to pop that back leg forward, drop the head down, relax your neck, relax your upper shoulders, drawing your right hip towards your left inside knee. Allowing the weight of your skull to stretch your hamstrings and your spine. Now just step the front leg back and just transition through pyramid into pigeon. So right knee towards your right wrist, and then your right foot is forward towards the left hip bone. Don't worry about having that shin parallel, okay? It's not necessary, okay? So hips are square to the floor, and your right knee is towards your right armpit, your right heel is towards your left hip bone. Lifting up, and then transition back through pyramid, suck the belly and reach out, and then left knee towards your left wrist, left foot towards your right hip. And see how I scooted back 3 times? I usually cue that where I say, okay, scoot your knee back 3 times, 2 times, 1 time. And that just really opens and deepens the stretch. And then from there, we can relax into it. Hips are square. Breathing into where you feel the stretch. Softening the face and your jaw and your tongue. Just noticing where your attention is and just coming back to the sensations in your body into your stretch. Grab a Theraband. We're going into rowing with Theraband series. Theraband around your feet, grab hold of the band, sitting up in an L seated position and then elbows back. 7, 6, squeeze your shoulders back. 5, 4, legs together. 3, glutes engaged. Lift up out of the pelvis with the spine, focusing on those muscles. Now into rotation one at a time. Okay, so you pull the elbow back, rotate. We're working the erector spinae, the rhomboids and your obliques. Lifting up and out of your pelvis. Now with extension, so you rotate, extend, bend and return. Rotate, extend, working the tricep. Rotate, reach. So you're rotating your chest and then you're reaching the knuckles towards the long end of the mat. Rotate, reach. The elbow, you try and keep it still in space as you straighten your forearm. 10 of these. Strengthening the mid-back muscles and the arms and your obliques. Try and contract your buttocks as well and pressing those legs together. The legs are fully active, the feet are flexed and you're pressing your knees down into the mat. Into biceps. So legs are up and then arms are up and bend and straighten. Legs are together. Arms stay parallel to the floor. It's a bit of a balance challenge. Working the biceps from the deep abdominals. Inside thighs engaged. Place the feet down, C-curve forward and then sitting up straight. And now into paddling with extension. Pull the arms to the long end of the mat as you lift your thoracic. It's sort of like we're doing dart when we're lying on our stomach or a thoracic extension. Okay, so you're not arching from the lower back, you're lifting from the chest. The legs are engaged. You're squeezing the buttocks, working the lower trapezius and the lats. Lovely. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date and get notified when it's released. Thanks for watching and remember, movement is medicine.